Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into another Gamers Thoughts discussion. And I'm going to be talking about the potential Web3 console, Polium, which sounds like something irradiated as well as a disease. But, yeah, Polium, Web3. Okay, I've kind of given my opinion on this type of stuff already. But these guys want to create a Web3 based game console for the plethora of Web3 based games that are out there apparently, which is honestly not very many, and the ones that are out aren't doing very well from what I have seen and heard. So obviously the market isn't primed for this yet. At some point it will. I can't say it won't, just because of how digital only everything is going. So eventually the market will be prepped for this. Right now, something like what they're trying to do is way too soon. Way too soon in the market. And on top of that, whether they want to admit it or not, their logo looked like the GameCube logo. They need a new one. As they said, they were setting up one. But my biggest problem here is like the timeline of events that they have set up. So one, they're looking for funding now, obviously. But two, they're planning on getting working kits out, then the SDK, the software development kit. Doesn't the SDK usually come before the hardware so that you have an idea of what you're trying to do? I always thought it came before the physical hardware. Like you come up with the range that you're looking for, you come up with the software style development kit that you need, and then you come up with the hardware to work within that software development kit. Maybe I'm wrong, or they go hand in hand, but I've never heard of the SDK just coming out like a year after the hardware is released. It's just not something you would think would make any sort of sense. That also leads me to another thing. They said that they're already in talks with a bunch of different developers for games for this platform that is physically non-existent. So what are you showing to these supposed software developers that will be interested in your project to help by throwing their name and games behind you? Because you obviously aren't big enough in the industry for everyone to just say, okay, well, I know they're a well-known name. I know that they do a lot of this stuff there, here and there. I'm pretty sure what they're going to do is going to launch and going to be moderately successful at least. But you don't have any of that. You're an upstart. So what are you showing anyone? If you haven't even finalized hardware yet, you haven't finalized an SDK yet, what are you showing anyone to get them interested in this? Not to mention the fact that the gaming market right now, as it is completely crypto allergic. Completely crypto allergic. No crypto, no NFTs, none of that. So people don't want that in gaming, because that's more barriers, unnecessary barriers, I might add, that make it more difficult for people to be able to get the content, make it more expensive for people to get the content. So who is this supposed to be for? Who's this supposed to be helping? What void is this supposed to be filling right now? Because when I look at the information that they presented, it's all theoretical. There's nothing really concrete to work with. Like, because they want to basically be a wallet for all of your crypto stuff, which is fine. You can do that for a simplified plug and play thing. Yeah, that would be a good idea. But crypto has been declining in recent months. So you're trying to feed a market that is appearing to die at the moment with something that doesn't fulfill a need for anyone currently into crypto, and even less gamers. It's just one of those things. It's like, why are you guys doing this? Like, who is this supposed to be for? Who is this supposed to serve? Like that's like, you're talking like the niches of the niche here. And I think with a lot of companies, especially when it came down to gaming, they thought that crypto, or NFTs more specifically, and blockchain was going to just net them a lot of money, and it ended up backfiring on many fronts. Hell, even the developers of the games don't want anything to do with it right this moment. So you know that's not good for the publishers. If you can't get the publishers on board with something concrete, something that they know will pay them back, or at least seems likely to pay them back, what do you think is going to happen? Because I mean, for me personally, with having noticed a lot of different things going on, especially when it comes down to people just randomly trying to come out with new hardware, and they have no rights to any sort of software, it's usually a pump and dump. They'll get people to put money into it, and then they dump everything and immediately leave and roll out with whatever money they got. Again, it may not be that way, but just having witnessed how several different game consoles that were supposed to be released outside of the big three, seeing how well they have done or not done, it does call into question if you could even put faith in behind this, because that's exactly what they're asking people to do. They're asking people to come in with blind faith that what they said that they're going to do will happen. Blind faith that you put your money into this thing, it will exist one day. Blind faith that they have all of these partners that they're in talks with. Unless you were talking to like a bunch of indies, and even then, I don't see it as fully believable. But if you're talking to a bunch of indies, yeah, I could potentially see that maybe happening. If your games are not going to specifically be stuff that can be played on PC at all times, and aren't a bunch of things that are already browser based, like many of the Web3 games that are currently out are. So there's a lot to look at. There's a lot to consider. There's a lot to think about. And not really any answers that I think are good enough to fulfill what people would need in order to be willing to invest into this, outside of people who are unaware and think that they're going to be able to use this as a get-rich-quick scheme, or people that are hyper enthusiast about anything Web3, crypto, blockchain, NFT. Those are the people that are likely to pay into this. Whereas everybody else is likely to just say, I don't know. I mean, what's your lineup looking like? What are the dates that software potentially going to be released? Who are you talking to for games? Will you have your own staple of games? Do you have your own development studio currently? That's a lot of stuff to consider. And I'm not even covering everything. I think I'm covering like the basics of the basics here. So I sit and wonder, is this worth the time, the energy, and the effort for anyone else to try to get behind? Like, I honestly, I want there to be more marketable consoles than just 3 out for everyone to get. I mean, I don't want there to be like an absurd number of them, but 4, potentially 5, just so that there's a potential chance for more variety, I think that would work. But so far, with everything that has popped up, nobody's really stepped up to the plate and made it. There's been a lot of failed attempts and a lot of shams and scams and scandals that have left more people ticked off and angry that they are getting the crappy end of the stick here. I'm just left to wonder why they think that this is something that's plausible currently. Again, especially since Web3 itself is very new, it hasn't really fulfilled its place in the market just yet, and we don't know how Web3 is potentially going to develop in the future. It's just one of those things where Web3 may not go anywhere. So why rush to try to make this project be Web3 based outside of looking to see if maybe you can score some points and say, well, hey, we're the first Web3 console out there. Big whoop. You're still going to have to deal with a lot of stuff with localized storage, and you don't even have your hardware figured out. Again, it just makes me question and wonder what the plan was here. And part of me believes, just based on the circumstances at current, the plan was not meant to go anywhere beyond collecting the money. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that they do make a device that's worth the time and the energy and the effort. But my logical side says this was going to go down the crapper ASAP. But that's just my opinion. Anyone can have an opinion on this, and if anybody else feels different, I implore you to give me your thoughts. I mean, whether you feel the same or not as me, like, I still want to hear what other people think. Other than that, I'm just going to drop off the face of the planet now. So thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. Until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out.